Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on something you do like dozens of times a day, sending information over the internet. We're going to look at the two main ways websites do this, get and post.
I mean, it really does feel like magic, doesn't it? You type something in, hit a button, and bam, a new page pops up. But behind all that magic, there's a really specific, kind of hidden conversation going on between your computer and the website server. So let's break down what they're actually saying to each other.
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we've got to understand the basic chat that happens every single time you interact with a website. It's this constant back and forth between your browser and this big, powerful computer called a server.
So the journey for your data, whether it's a search term, your username, your password, whatever, it all kicks off inside this really simple but super powerful tool, the HTML form. I mean, you can just think of it as the website's suggestion box or its sign-up sheet. And right at the heart of every single one of these forms, there are two super critical instructions. You've got action, which is basically the mailing address. It tells the data where to go. And then you have method. And the method, well, that's the delivery service. And on the web, you've really only got two main options. And picking the right one is absolutely crucial, not just for function, but for security too. All right, let's meet our first delivery method. We're going to call this one the public messenger. And you'll see why in a second. It's not exactly worried about privacy. This is the get method. The get method is super straightforward. It literally just sticks all the information you typed in right onto the end of the web address, the URL. It's fast, it's simple, but you can probably already see the issue, right? It's basically like sending a postcard. Anybody who can see the address can read the entire message. So here's what that actually looks like. The code over on the left, that's the blueprint. See that one tiny instruction, method equals get? That simple little line of code creates the form you see on the right, which probably looks pretty familiar. Now let's see what happens when we actually use it. And check this out. This is the result. After hitting submit, just look at that URL up top. The name Tassine and the entire email address are just tacked right onto the end of the web address. It's totally out in the open. Anyone can see it. They can copy it. They can even find it later in their browser history. Not great for privacy, huh? Okay, so if get is like sending a postcard for the whole world to read, what's the alternative? Well, let's meet our second delivery method, which is way more like a private courier. This is the post method. Yeah, so instead of basically shouting your information in the URL, the post method bundles it all up securely, deep inside the body of the web request itself. It's like putting your message in a sealed envelope before you mail it. This is why it's the go-to standard for anything sensitive. Now, at first glance, this looks pretty much identical to our GET example, right? The form looks the same, but the code on the left shows that one crucial change. The method is now post. Let's see what a massive difference that one little word makes. Okay, now look at this result. The page still says, welcome Tassine, so we know for sure the data got there. But look at the address bar. It's totally clean. There's no personal information anywhere in sight. The data was delivered securely and privately, completely hidden from view. Huge difference. So there you have it. We've got the public postcard, get, and the sealed envelope, post. Let's put them head to head and figure out exactly when and why you'd use each one. This table really breaks it down nicely. With get, the data is totally visible, which makes it less secure. But that visibility can actually be useful sometimes. Think about a search on a shopping site. Using get puts the search terms in the URL, which means you can bookmark that exact search or share the link with a friend. Post, on the other hand, keeps everything under wraps and can handle way more data, which is why we use it for things like uploading files. And this brings us to the single most important role of this whole explainer. Seriously, this is non-negotiable. If you are ever sending anything sensitive, passwords, credit card numbers, private messages, you name it, you have to use post. Always. No exceptions. Okay, so we've covered how your browser sends the message, but that's really only half the story, right? How does the server on the other end actually receive and make sense of all that data? Let's take a look at how the message gets unpacked. So on the server side, a language like PHP is often doing the work of processing all this data. And PHP has this really clever system called superglobals. The easiest way to think of them is like dedicated, pre-labeled mailboxes just sitting there, always open and ready to catch specific types of data coming in. And you guessed it, there's a specific mailbox for each delivery method.
You've got the get mailbox, which collects all those postcards, the data that's sent visibly in the URL. And then you have the post mailbox, which handles all those sealed envelopes, the data sent privately in the request body. And here, you can see exactly how that mailbox is used in the code. This little line is just a simple instruction to the server. It's saying, hey, server, go to the get mailbox, find the piece of mail labeled name, and then display it on the page. And that's exactly how we get that personalized welcome Tessin message. So get and post are perfect for sending these one-off messages. But that brings up a really good question. How do sites like Amazon or YouTube remember who you are and what's in your cart as you click from page to page? That requires a totally different tool, one that gives the website a kind of memory. Well, the answer is something called a session. And you could think of a session as kind of like a temporary name tag that a website slaps on you when you arrive. It's the site's short-term memory, and it's dedicated just to you and what you're doing, like remembering all the stuff in your shopping cart. The whole process is actually really simple and logical. First, when you log in, the site starts a session just for you. Then it stores your info in that session, like your username. As you browse around, the site keeps checking that session to know that it's still you. And finally, when you log out or just close the browser window, the session is destroyed, and the site basically forgets everything. It's a clean slate for next time. So you see, the choice between get and post, between the open road and the secure tunnel, it's not just some tiny technical detail. It has huge, real-world consequences for how websites actually work, and maybe more importantly, for keeping all of our personal information safe and secure online. And that's our explainer on how data moves across the web. It really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? If get and post are the messengers, what other invisible gears are turning behind the scenes to make the internet work every single time you open your browser? Thanks for watching.